If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Paul Feig. I could put anything over here. Paul Feig directs Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is the remake of the 1984 classic of the same name. The movie stars Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones as the four Ghostbusters. The movie also stars Chris Hemsworth as their secretary, receptionist guy. I will get to him in just a bit. This is probably one of the most talked about, slash hated, slash critiqued, slash analyzed, slash nitpicked, slash everything, even though we live in a time where we are rebooting and revisiting and sequeling and spin-offing, and yet for some reason the Ghostbusters movie has been a movie of a lot of talk. And as I said in my trailer review, I don't know why. We've revisited so many old properties at this point and they rarely work. We're trying to recreate Spider-Man getting bit by the radioactive spider. It's a one-off. It's a freak accident. There's a little bit of luck, a little bit of magic, a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of timing, a little bit of everything that all came together to make the Ghostbusters of 1984. Putting all of that into focus, I said in my trailer review that we should give this movie a shot, and I am glad that we did. Or we did, I should say. We gave it a shot. This is possibly, probably, the best way that Paul Feig could have done this film. As I said in my trailer review, it didn't look like they were trying to redo the first one. When you try to revisit the aforementioned Spider-Man getting bit by a spider, it never really quite works out. Everybody has their own opinion of what Ghostbusters right here, what that means. As my best friend John Campea says all the time, all film is subjective. And so if you like the Harold Ramis, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Ivan Reitman Ghostbusters, as I said, it's still there. Trying to redo that, trying to come up with like knockoff Harold Ramis and knockoff Bill Murray, etc., 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 that is probably not the way to approach this film. And Paul Feig did not do that. And I think it worked very well. This movie went its own way with its own brand of humor, and it had a very modern feel. This new modern era of comedy, the Judd Apatow era, the Superbad era, Paul Feig, he did Bridesmaids, he did The Heat, he did Spy. He brought us a modern take on the idea of Ghostbusters. It was very performance-driven, very actor-driven. It's all four of these actors at the top of their comedic game doing what they do best. That's why they're such successes, is that they have found their thing that they do very well. It was that type of thing where it seemed like they let these actors roll a little bit. They got four of the biggest names in comedy right now. Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, they're amazing at comedy. And so you get those four women in the same room and you let them riff and then put it together in post. That is this style. Paul Feig did an excellent job at delivering what I think he promised to deliver. The movie was produced by Ivan Reitman and it was executive produced by Dan Aykroyd, so I thought that the movie had plenty of nods to the original. Both originals, actually, Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. They were both wonderfully referenced. There was a little tip of the cap to each of those movies, whether it was visually or in a line. There were, of course, cameos that people were looking forward to, although the cameos, I must say, the cameos were not overdone. They were very, very, very quick. A bunch of little Easter eggs. I mean, if you're a fan of Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, there's the blatant Easter egg, but then there's like little stuff where you go, I see what you did there, Mr. Feig. I see. Brava, Mr. Feig, brava. And every time one of those things popped up, the crowd was like, yeah, yeah. This was a Ghostbusters fan crowd that was excited, not skeptical. They were going in with the right mentality, I think. I mean, we saw it opening night, so of course you're going to get the fans that really want to see the movie, they're going to be there opening night. It's always good to watch a movie with a group. Like, it's a group experience, and going with a group that's as pumped as you are. Like, that's kind of how I feel at the Marvel movies. Yeah. Opening night, you know you're surrounded by a bunch of other Marvel nerds. And Star Wars, same thing. Basically, he was reminding the audience that, yes, I remember those movies too. This is a new version of that. We're going in this direction. Why don't you come along with me? And it's a fun ride. There was plenty of silliness Two, I think maybe some people are like, oh, what's up with this? But I don't really think that the original was silliness free. First of all, you had Slimer. I mean, he's a green blob that eats a lot of stuff, and they chase him in a hotel at one point. That's kind of silly, I think. There's a scene where a ghost gives Dan Aykroyd a blowjob, or it's implied that a ghost is going down on Dan Aykroyd. That's pretty silly. That's pretty lowbrow. And then you have a marshmallow man come to life and walks down the streets of New York City. I mean, this... The old version was performance driven, and I think this new version is also performance driven. Either Chris Hemsworth is an insanely eccentric improviser, or Kate Dippold and Paul Feig are some wacky off-the-wall writers, because Chris Hemsworth in this movie surprised the shit out of me. I found myself really, really enjoying Chris Hemsworth in this movie. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, right? He's a very tall, very buff, very handsome man. And why would he be funny, right? That never happens. He is up there with Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. He's holding his own. I thought he did a great job. And if some of that stuff was improvised, that's all I have to say to you, Mr. Hemsworth, because that had me cracking up. It had my fiance cracking up. It was so wacky. You're the theater cracking up. I can't really give anything away without spoiling anything, and I want to keep this review non-spoiler, but I don't know where some of that stuff came from. Like, it was so out of left field, some of it, but it worked. Overall, guys, if you couldn't tell by now, I'm going to ask you to please see this one in the theater. Go. You're going to have a good time. You're absolutely going to have a good time. Unless you are like staunchly putting your foot down like, I will only accept Ghostbusters where Bill Murray plays Peter Venkman. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. And like I said, that movie still exists. It's still there. You can go see it. But I would highly recommend seeing this movie. See it in the theater. Support the film. It's a really, really fun ride. And a really well done reboot by Paul Feig. So guys, Ghostbusters! Did you see the movie? What did you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and you want to see any more of my ramblings about movies, you can always click right there to subscribe. And we wanted to touch on the Leslie Jones Twitter thing. It's really getting bad. I believe in the freedom of speech. I think it's important. Speech and expression should not be stifled. But you don't have to be a dick. I stand in front of a green screen and I just rant about movies. I have no idea what it's like to be a celebrity. I have no idea what it's like to get that kind of attention and to always have that on me. But I can only imagine. She goes out there and she wants to make a movie and she's hired to do a job, which she did very, very well. And then because you wish it were 1984 again and you wish Bill Murray was still in the movie or something, which he is, by the way.
You can hate the movie, but the shit I got today, wrong.
Yeah. I'm sure it was wrong. I don't get why you would do something like that to another person that you've never met. We're in this era where you can just anonymously get on your computer and just spew the most hateful, vile shit. I don't know. I just don't know what I would do. Like, you're put in that position and like, I'm sure you would want to be strong. I want to be like, nah, screw that, ignore that, you know, blah, blah, blah. But who knows how much does that wear on a person before it really sinks in?
That completely.
It's basic human decency. I say go see the film. Support the film and support these actors. As a fan of good filmmaking, go see the movie. As a fan of good performances, go see the movie. Good direction, good writing. Go see this movie. As I joked about, but I'm semi-serious, on Facebook and on Twitter, I can't believe that I live in a world where Ghostbusters gets more flack than Independence Day Resurgence. This kitten, she's tired. Mm-hmm.